Welcome to Money and Marriage Lesson 3, Your Money Personality. Let's play a game. Let's start this out with a game. Answer these questions as you're sitting there with your partner. Remember, you can pause this video at any time. Would you rather have a luxury car for 3 years or a gourmet personal chef for 3 years? Here's another one. Would you rather have an all expenses paid vacation to your dream destination with the caveat that you have to plan the whole trip and activities a month in advance? Or would you rather have an all expenses paid vacation with the caveat that you can't plan anything and you just have to show up and see what's available at that time? You get a paid vacation both ways. Would you rather yours planned to the hour or show up to the airport and figure out who has open seats? Well, that was a fun one. This next question's a bit more serious. Let's say you got laid off from your job and they gave you a choice on your severance package. Would you take 10 weeks of full pay and full benefits, or would you take all 10 weeks as an upfront payment and file for unemployment the next day? How did you feel answering each of these questions? How about that last one? Was it a tough discussion? Uncomfortable? Something you want to not something you want to think about? Or was it easy? Have you already had that discussion? Last lesson, we talked about how the adults in your life taught you about money, whether they thought they were or not, whether they realized they were teaching you or whether it was by accident. You picked up on their peace and security or their fear and anxiety. But that doesn't actually mean you're managing your money the same way. You could be very different than your parents. You could be doing your best to manage money the exact opposite of your parents, even. Okay. You might have seen them get into IRS debt and decided that wasn't for you. So you're thoughtful and you like to plan out your budget or your vacations. It changed you. Our money personalities have many different pieces to them. Just like anything about you, you're born with some of your money personality and some parts you learned. We know that you can use your strengths and improve your weaknesses. But first, we need to discover how you and your partner's money personalities match up. In this video, we're diving into your overall money personality. In the next video, we'll be talking about your spending personality. So stay with me here. We're going to be doing your money personality now and your spending personality later. So we get even a little bit deeper. Okay. Your money personality has 4 different dimensions: spender versus saver, open versus closed communicator, planned versus carefree, and proactive versus avoidant. You're not necessarily an either or on these 4 dimensions, though. Okay, it's a spectrum. You can be somewhere in the middle. On that last one, I'm generally pretty proactive, but I've been known to sometimes forget about my bills. So I'm not fully proactive. My husband, on the other hand, doesn't even think about it. He's so avoidant. He's so far into avoidant that I call it oblivious. We're working on that. Let's dive into what each of these means, starting with saver or spender. If I gave you $100 right now, what would you do with it? What's your first instinct? A saver would probably pop that bad boy right into a checking or savings account, maybe even an investment account. It's fun for a saver to take that money and see their balance go up. It feels good to know you have some cash to fall back on if times get tough. Making sure you have enough for tomorrow is a saver's focus. A spender would put that $100 bill right in his or her wallet or pocket and immediately start thinking about what to do with it. Brunch on Sunday? Maybe. A new shirt or jacket? Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Or you could get some new headphones. See the difference? A spender thinks more about stuff to buy now to make their lives better. You probably don't fall exactly squarely in one category or the other here. You can be a saver and still like brunch on Sunday, or you can be a spender and still want to save for the future. The key here is balance. You need to save for the future and still enjoy your life now. Everything in moderation. You, in today's activity, in this lesson's activity, you will be able to find out whether you are more of a saver or more of a spender. And the results might surprise you. Open or closed communicator. If your partner asked you a question about your spending, how would you react? Isn't that a scary question? Would you easily answer or would you clam up? Would you want to talk through and find out how much you're spending, or would you try to avoid the conversation? Maybe you'd feel overwhelmed or angry about the question. That's not uncommon. I see that all the time. Open communicators don't necessarily want to talk about money, but they don't avoid it. So that's key. They know they have to talk to their partners about spending, saving, where you are now, and where your money needs to be in the future. Those are open communicators. Open communication about money is important for a healthy marriage. This is one of those spectrums that I'm going to say you should be in one place or another. So if you and your partner, or if both of you or one of you veers much more in the realm of closed communication, which we're about to get into, then this whole course is directed at opening up those floodgates of communication so that you can create a plan together that you both want to follow. Okay. Closed communicators, they aren't comfortable talking about money with their partners or their spouse. They might not have seen their parents talk about money and or know how to start the conversation themselves. Okay. Closed communicators tend to try to avoid conflict and avoid accountability. You can be a spender or a saver and still be a closed communicator. I have seen both. I have seen people who save so much money, they don't know what to do with it, like $12,000 a month being saved. And talking about money makes them so anxious that they have to pop a pill before talking to me. Okay. I do see that a lot. This is one spectrum you want to work on together. You want to be an open communicator. The good news is that anyone can go from closed to open. Anyone, even if you have money anxiety. This whole course is designed to get you from being a closed communicator to becoming an open communicator. You need to talk about money together as a couple. Your marriage is counting on you to do that. Okay. You'll also be able to find out if you're more closed or open in today's activities. Planned or carefree. When you go on a trip, do you pick the destination and just go, or do you plan out every second of your day? So when I first thought about this question, I'm a planner. I don't know if you can tell or if you just assumed, but I'm a planner. My husband's super carefree. So he just cares about uh, who he's going to be around and that he gets there. He's gone to different countries, fully different countries, and just crashed on someone's couch without even asking in advance. Okay, that's crazy to me because I'm a planner. I am not a carefree person. I like to plan. That doesn't mean that I need to control everything. I just like to plan. I like to have some sort of schedule, something that makes me feel secure. So if you plan out your days or you plan out your budget each month without prompting, like all the time without prompting, you're probably a planner like me. You find security or even fun I find budgeting fun. Okay. In planning things out and seeing what different effects your actions will have on your future, right? You like to know, if I do this, what will happen? If we change this, how will it change our future? I'm there with you. I am that natural planner. If all of that sounds super constricting to you, or just maybe incredibly boring, you're probably carefree. Carefree folks tend to wing it. That's fine. That's okay. They feel free, freedom, when there is a whole day to do whatever they want. Carefree people do not like to look at a budget or plan out their financial futures. That's okay. Most people here, by the way, are not right in the middle of this spectrum, but land closer to one side or the other. I've met very few people who are in the middle, and I kind of call them spontaneous planners. There are very few people like that. I'm closer to the plan side. My husband's a lot more carefree, like we said. He'd love to book that trip to Boca and not plan out a single day. I'd like to go to Athens and know exactly what we're doing each hour of every day on our trip. So we compromise. I plan our budget. My husband looks it over and makes sure that we have some fun money, that we're doing fun things as a family. It's not better to be one or the other. This is not one of those spectrums where you have to try to change. You need elements of both in your marriage so that you can agree on money in your marriage. The planner cannot take over the budget, but somebody needs to plan. You need to plan your finances and have fun. So let your carefree person have a say in your budget. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. This is all about discovering your money personality. We're going to discover it and put it in action. Now, you might think that savers are natural planners and spenders are naturally carefree. That's not always the case. I'm an open, planned spender, while my husband is a slightly less open, carefree saver. He doesn't care what's going on, and he feels pretty secure knowing that he's probably saving a crap ton of money. And he does. I've met couples with all different mixtures. I've met spenders who are married to spenders, one open, the other one closed, one planned, the other one carefree. I've met two carefree spenders who are married to each other. I've met two carefree savers who are married to each other. The key here is to work together and be open with each other. Okay, that's what we're going to work toward. Now let's go into proactive or avoidant versus avoidant. This last point is more about what you do. When you get a bill, do you pay it as soon as you can, or do you put it off? And why? If you have a credit card, do you pay off the balance at least once a week, or do you keep a balance that carries over month to month on your account? Maybe you're somewhere in the middle. You pay your rent or mortgage right away, but might sit on your credit card payments. This is a good thing to know about each other. It'll help you decide who does what, which is the very last lesson in this course, and figure out which habits to keep and which to work on improving. So I'm going to give you a little example. My husband from this week, okay? So it's still a work in progress. People think that once you have this budgeting thing down, it's going to be fine. Well, I'll tell you what, life changes, you go through transitions, people start picking up different things, and you might swap chores every once in a while. My husband is the one who secured the internet for our house right now. So the bill's in his name, he's set up billing, and he thought he set up auto pay. Well, guess who got the internet shut off for not paying it? This guy, because I thought my husband put it on auto pay, and he said he put it on auto pay, but I didn't check. And it was actually, like, if we're being honest, it was my husband's fault. Okay. But that's one of those things, knowing that I'm proactive and he's avoidant, and so avoidant that he's oblivious. I probably should be the one to do it, right? Yeah. So, lesson learned for probably the 20th time in our marriage. Anyway, attitude and emotion. Now, let's start talking about your attitude and emotions when it comes to money. Your attitude and emotions can drive your money personality, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. We've talked a little bit about money anxiety. We've talked about stress, and finances are the number one stressor in the United States and the number two cause of divorce. We all feel something. It's human nature. You can't get away from it. And just like we discussed last lesson, our attitude toward money generally first stems from how you witness the adults in your life relate to money. It came from your parents. It came from your house, the household you grew up in. But this attitude that we have toward money evolves and changes over time as you gain more and more experience with managing your money. Here's the good news. Once you discover and acknowledge how you're feeling, what you're feeling, and how you're feeling about money, you can take steps to start feeling how you want to feel. Now, how does that work? How does that work? Let me give you an example. Carla, one of my coaching clients, she came to me to help her figure out how to live on a budget. That's normal. That's a very normal thing that I get all the time. We discovered that she felt incredible shame when it came to money. She only checked her bank account on paydays to make sure money was deposited into her account. That was the only time she looked. She didn't want to look at her money. Seeing how much was in her bank account immediately set her in this state of anxiety, the spiral of anxiety, wondering how she was going to pay her bills over the next 2 weeks and how she was going to feed her kids. She had 5 kids. She felt angry. So first she was anxious, then she was angry at herself for letting it get this bad. And then she felt shame for not having figured out how to manage her money yet. That is a lot. That's a lot of feelings. Those are a lot of emotions. Here's the good news. Carla, she completely turned her life around from spending $2,000 or $3,000 over her income, what she was bringing in every month, to now spending about $1,000 less than her income. She is looking at being completely debt-free in less than a year. So she's still journeying through this. It's been about 8 months, and she's a few months away, but she's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It takes time. And she told me that if she had not started coaching, had that accountability partner, gone through the courses to get debt free, and met with that group, she would not have done it herself, because that spiral of anxiety, anger, and shame wasn't going to change on her own. So she took that and changed it. It changed as she made progress from that to hope and excitement. And she's rocking it now. She's almost done. Anxiety. Here's the horrible thing. Anxiety about looking at money caused her to spend more money than she knew she had, which then caused even more anxiety. So she would look at her account on payday to make sure she got paid. Then she'd be anxious, angry, and then feel shame. She has those 5 kids. They didn't know anything about her financial situation. And they would say, "Hey, great, Mom, it's Friday. Can we go out?" And in order to feel like a good mom and to feel like she was doing okay financially and to make herself feel better, she would then go out with them and spend more than she had. Okay. Once she started finding that hope, knowing there was a way out, knowing that she was equipped with what to tell her kids and how to spend her money, she saw the way forward. She took the steps to dump her debt and own her future. That was a good future. She changed her life by acknowledging where she was starting from and deciding to do something different. Now, this is not a single case. Okay. I picked her only because to me, it was incredible. She went from $2,000 or $3,000 over her budget to $1,000 under her budget as a single mom with 5 kids. Now we're in a money and marriage course. This is all about knowing yourself and communicating with your spouse. She had been divorced twice. So she didn't go through that before she was divorced, and she really wished she had. So we worked on all of that, and she's now engaged. So she is looking to build a solid foundation of her finances with her fiance so that that doesn't happen again. It was money that caused both most of the stress. Anyway, we won't get into all that. I just want you to know that if you're there today, if you have that anxiety, anger, shame, you are not alone. We'll get into that a bit more, and also take advantage of those coaching sessions. Please. This is where we digest and work through all those emotions and what you're feeling and what you're doing and all of that so that you can really change your marriage and change your money. Okay. Last thing in today's lesson. Let's discuss the amount of money. Now that seems a little weird to say, right? But this is extremely practical. How much money is a lot of money to you? How much money is a lot of money to you? You and your partner might be on the same page already about this, but then again, you might just be surprised at how different your answers are. And I've been shocked at how different couples' answers are about this too. You need to discuss this. Knowing how much money is a lot of money to each of you will change how you talk about money. Blowing $200 on clothes you don't need might seem like a little bit of money to one of you and a lot of money to the other. So let's get it right out in the open in our activities in this lesson. Okay. That was a lot of information all at once. Next, you have 2 activities to do: an online activity that you do individually, and then a guided discussion that you'll do together. Please make sure to do your activities in order. You'll use what you learned from this video to learn more about yourself and each other so that you can start to work better together when it comes to your finances. Let's do this. I'll see you in the next video.